You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly
Rank.
any dumber, you go and do
Rank.
something like this and totally redeem yourself.
What is up? What is going on? This is Adjust the Ranks. I'm Jeremy Schulman at Adjust the Ranks, and I'm here today with a very special guest. It is Ryan Prosick at RyanPros_FF on the Twitter machine. Ryan, welcome in. How you doing? How's it going with you today?
Oh, it's going great. It's draft season. My team is playing in the Super Bowl next week, but it's still draft season, man. I've drafted a number of teams. I've had so much fun on Underdog. It's the best platform to play. I'll say that right now because, man, I don't know if you've seen some posts, but we're gonna get into it here. There's a couple ADPs where we're gonna have some fun. They were skyrocketing in the early draft process. I'll just highlight one now because when we get there, Travis Hunter. I mean, Travis Hunter's one of my favorite drafts. He plays wide receiver, but yeah, see, I'm not even talking about myself. I'm just that excited to hop right into it. So
I love it. Listen, there's a lot going on. I had to play the Dumb and Dumber intro because number one, I'm hoping we're not Dumb and Dumber for the draft that we put together today. Number two, Dumb and Dumber already happened in the Dallas Mavericks front office less than 24 hours ago. So shit is just off the rails everywhere. And of course, number three, we have to make sure that Howie Roseman and company, they've been the opposite of Dumb and Dumber, but hopefully they come through and finish everything off here with a Super Bowl victory for your Eagles. We'll see.
Ooh,
I can't think of anyone outside of Kansas City who wants the Chiefs to win. So
yeah, a lot of America there's the meme maps where they're rooting for the game not to happen, but
yeah,
I take solace in knowing people root for Saquon. But
yes,
anyway, this draft filled quick. We're ready. We're 30 seconds to go time. I told you it was gonna fill quick.
All right.
I don't like our. I kind of like our draft spot. I kind of don't like it, but
well, let's throw it up. And Ryan, if you can just tell everybody what we're doing here in terms of Underdog, the contest that we entered, and what we're looking at in terms of what's happening here.
Yeah, we're drafting the flagship preseason. Their flagship contest is Best Ball Mania, as everyone knows. $25 to enter during June, July. This is the big board. This is where the degenerates come to play because you're drafting before the season, before the draft, before landing spots. I could scroll down a little bit here. Ashton Genty, 14.80 ADP. You don't even know where he's going.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. $10 to enter. This is my best contest over the years because the entry advancement rate, as Jahmyr Gibbs goes 101. Here we go.
Nice. Love it. Well, I'll fill in the blanks here on the bottom of the screen. You probably already see it. It'll be down below, so have a look at that. But here we are at the 4 and 5. It looks like we're drafting from the 10th spot, which is our draft selection. We see a few of the names off the board here. What are you thinking from our draft spot here, Ryan? How do you want to attack this best ball draft?
Wide receiver. I've been doing every draft I've been doing. I pick a wide receiver in round 1. Of course, unless I have that Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley pick, then I go there. But besides that, it's been wide receivers till up until round 5, where I like to draft Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara. So I'm a big heavy wide receiver guy. I haven't shifted back the other way. So we're coming up here, and you see the name CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's my favorite draft this year. I think he's undervalued at 107. I think he could finish as high as, I'd say 102 is I feel comfortable drafting him at. I'll draft him behind Jamar, Saquon, Bijan. Those are it. But wide receiver 2, I think he's in for a heck of a year. We're not going to get him though, but
no.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Amon-Ra was probably going to be my draft. His ADP's up from about 13 because people are drafting because solid finishes, name recognition. Yeah. Actually, we might. I don't know.
That's an interesting conversation here in a best ball draft.
We're gonna have it. So we're gonna have it. We got.
Yeah, but here's the question: is Amon-Ra Malik Neighbors? I'm a Malik Neighbors guy. I know Amon-Ra is going to give you that safety, but Ben Johnson out of town. Malik Neighbors quarterback proof. Amon-Ra quarterback proof. I'm not going to fight you on this, but if you want to pick Amon-Ra, go ahead and tell us why.
I think I'm going to pick Amon-Ra. Yeah. Partially partially get my Malik Neighbors exposure down. I'm kidding, but
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
kidding, kind of. But anyway, he's just a target hog. You know what you're gonna get.
Yep.
You can't win your drafts in round one, but you can lose your drafts. And Amon-Ra is not that kind of player that's going to lose your draft in round one. He's going to put up a solid floor, even without Ben Johnson. He's still going to get a ton of targets. So I love the pick. And, Neighbors, it wouldn't surprise me if he finishes ahead of him, but we're almost on the clock here at 2:02 or 2:03, my bad. And Devon A-Chain's still there. I don't like him this year. I don't know about you.
Okay.
So I don't know where you want to go. I like any of these three wide receivers, like Brock Bowers as well. So I'm going to leave this one up to you. This is all you. You let me have the first
All right.
one. Got 15 seconds, though.
Who's that? Amon-Ra. I don't know if I can pick AJ. Love me some Lad, but let's go with Drake London. And let's talk about it. I mean, PPR points per game. He was only, I think, wide receiver 14, but he finished as like the wide receiver 5 or something ridiculous on the season. We saw what he did at the back end of the year with Michael Penix, a full offseason of Penix to kind of just get a sense of what's going on. They have to address that offensive line. And because of that, I don't think they're going to bring in much in the way of weapons to challenge him. So he's Penix's dude. I love Drake London there, and AJ Brown is a consideration for sure. But yeah, give me Drake for that safety and the upside in what should be a much better Atlanta offense.
Yeah, Drake London is one of my highest exposed players thus far, even in round 2. A couple days ago, Lad McConkey was over him in ADP. I couldn't get on board with that. So I've been drafting Drake London 205, 206, 207, 203 is not even too high for me.
Yeah.
He's just been a beast, and he balled out Michael Penix with that target share at the end of the year. And like you said, they're not going to bring anyone in. They're going to keep feeding Drake London. So, and Bijan, of course, but.
As we see some of these names off the board, I'll just read a few of them. We have the running backs, especially with Achan Taylor and Bucky Irving, who I love. AJ Brown there off the board. And we are sitting now at the 210 coming up. What are you thinking in terms of heavy wide receiver builds? Why is that what you're looking at in this particular contest?
I mean, even though it's half PPR, you got to start 3 and you get a flex. So you could start 4 in any given week. So you want to load up there. There's a couple of running backs that I like late that I've been drafting a ton of and a little too much of. Mm-hmm. Like if we were at this spot right now, I'd probably go Breece Hall just because. So, I mean, I'm not against drafting running backs. It's just the spot that we got is so perfect for wide receivers.
It's fair. How are you feeling about James Cook and his 16 touchdowns as well? I know that he's coming up. I feel like he's undervalued because I don't think that they're going to do a ton to replace him. I think Ray Davis probably gets more work, but I'm looking at him and just thinking about those touchdowns there. I forget where he finished, but a clear-cut RB1. Would you consider taking James Cook if he's there when we draft?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I just mentioned Breece Hall. I just traded Breece Hall for James Cook in a first in Dynasty like a week ago.
Nice. Well done.
So I like both guys. I mean, Ray Davis is a really good football player. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. Yep. But James Cook just felt like the guy. Like that touchdown against Kansas City at the end of the year.
So good.
Man, he's incredible. So I'm okay. I'm on board with it. I mean, I like DJ Moore. He could be an option. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Marv, I like him as a player. Don't like his situation somehow. Don't know how that happened.
Call of Duty. Call of Duty. That's how that happened.
Call of Duty, maybe. I don't know. There's a couple of appealing options on the board here, though. So what do you lean? You lean in wide receiver again, or do you like Kyron Williams or James Cook?
Kyron, no. I feel like Corum has the opportunity. Sean McVay just does not like rookies. He proved that with Kyron Williams. Corum could get a fair amount of run here. I don't think, even though McVay has historically leaned on one guy, I don't think that he can afford to lean on one guy. So I think Corum just a little bit more involved. That workload for Kyron is ridiculous. If he loses any amount of that workload, he's going to come down in terms of his production. I like Cook here. I don't mind Evans in PPR, and I don't mind JSN either in PPR. One of my favorite buys, and they're changing the offense again. They weren't happy with his breakout. They're going to break him out even more this season. So really, to me, it just depends on if you want to go Lamar here or if you want to get another wide receiver.
I'm open to either. I think Lamar's going to finish as the quarterback one next year, but I also think JSN's going to have a great year. So
Yeah.
I think we go JSN and risk it. You know, we're going to risk it.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
I mean, he's just been an absolute stud. DK could be on the move. There's been rumblings about that.
Yeah.
Very, very quiet rumblings. But
Yeah, true.
It's talks out there.
Yeah, I have heard that. I thought you said he, but then I realized you said DK.
Yeah.
That makes plenty of sense to me. In terms of the rumblings, it makes no sense for me from the team perspective. I think what they need to do is just bring a guy in who can absolutely utilize these weapons in an appropriate fashion. I forget. I think they did hire their OC. Do you remember who Seattle brought in?
I remember, but we're on the clock. We'll get back to that. What are we looking at here?
Oh, Jaden Daniels staring us in the face.
If you want to go Jaden Daniels,
because who else are you going to go? JMO? JMO is probably really the only other option for me here.
If you want to go for the double stack,
I would probably go Daniels. Yeah, let's go.
We go Jaden Daniels. Absolute stud. Crazy campaign. I usually typically go late quarterback, but it's never bad to change up. We're going to do a couple of these throughout the offseason, so might as well change it up a little bit.
I'm going to look up the Seattle offensive coordinator. Let's talk a little bit about where we are right now and how you feel like we should progress through the next couple of rounds in an ideal fashion, given what we've already got.
Well, we could ignore quarterback till the very end. Maybe a Geno, Michael Penix late, maybe both of them if we want to pair with the stacks with London and JSN. We need to pick a running back here sooner or later. I love RB as much as the next guy in Dynasty, Underdog, redraft, anything. But we're going to have to pick one soon. And Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara's ADP is higher than I thought it was going to be. Again, it keeps going up. Every time I look, it goes up. So we're going to be on the clock at where are we going to be at? We're going to be at 58, which puts us right on the edge of both of these guys.
Would you go Kenneth Walker to stack with JSN and potentially Geno?
I wouldn't mind it. I think Kenneth Walker's, I think he's undervalued. I think he should be somewhere in the end of the third, maybe fourth round.
Yeah, because Charbonnet had a few good games. I think people are just ridiculously high on Zach Charbonnet, but he was a good prospect coming out. He was like a top 3 back in that class. But then he just landed in a weird situation, kind of almost like Braylon Allen, even though the hype on him wasn't as high at the time he came out. But just landing in a bad spot doesn't get a chance to showcase what he can do on a regular basis. Kenneth Walker's just better. The problem is, can Kenneth Walker stay healthy? I don't know. But he is in, I have that name, a Clint Kubiak offense.
That's who it was.
Yeah. And Clint Kubiak coming over means it's a Gary Kubiak offense. And I want all of the running backs in a Gary Kubiak offense. Clint adds his own little flair, but he brings daddy along. So I am not concerned about this offensive functioning. They just need to solidify that offensive line.
No, and, worst case scenario, after 2 games, you'll get hyped about it. Like the Saints this year.
Yeah, very true.
So
as long as the IR, the hospital in Seattle doesn't fill up like it did in New Orleans, I think they'll be okay.
I think they will as well. We're up in 3 picks. Both of these guys are on the board. I mean, I think the rookies are going a little too high, man. I honestly do. Omarion Hampton, I like him as a prospect, but 506, I don't know the landing spot. It's a little rich.
Yeah, agree with that. I mean, Caleb Johnson coming up too.
I see. You see him, Travion Henderson right behind him. Like, I like these guys. I like him as prospects. I'll gladly take him in dynasty drafts. I'll gladly take him in redraft if their ADP goes down a little bit. But man, I said this in a Discord last night. The only guys I'm taking at current ADP, maybe Travis Hunter, because it just keeps going up. I mean, and Genty. Luther Burden right there. I wouldn't take Luther Burden. No, maybe I would over Waddle.
You know who is ridiculously undervalued as we're on the clock here is Chris Olave. He's going to come back just fine from that injury. Derek Carr is going to come back. I don't think these are amazing things for reality football, but for fantasy, Chris Olave is an absolute stud. The metrics have been off the charts. I'm not going to fight you on Clint Kubiak past or future here if you want to take one of these backs, but
I think we take Kenneth Walker and just roll with Seattle offense. I think Clint Kubiak's going to be great for them. The name was escaping me.
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, we might have a chance to draft one of these two on the way back. You never know. Sam Laporta goes off the board. I mean, I'm just going to insta click if one of these two guys are here. So
I would as well. If they're both there, who do you prefer?
I would say, well, I was about to say Chris Olave, but guess not. All right, we got a plan for the worst case scenario that Alvin Kamara is not on the board. So, do you like Jalen Waddle or Cortland Sutton, or do you even like a James Conner, or do you want to take a chance on Caleb Johnson?
Waddle's so hard. I don't think I can go Caleb Johnson. Waddle is really hard for me right now over a guy like Cortland Sutton, who's just
doesn't matter.
Consistent, but it doesn't
you just want to instantly click Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. I would. The one thing I would say there is, it's not enough for me to like worry about stalling the pick or anything, but David Montgomery is interesting. I think full health, he was still scoring a touchdown a game, even with Jahmyr Gibbs taking over. We know Jahmyr Gibbs can take over. Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't have to take over. And that's why the Lions are so dangerous. Just a weird game in that playoff game that got away from them, but they really should have faced the Eagles and they would have had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But hey, playoff football is absolutely crazy. So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I mean, I have a friend who's a Lions fan. We were ready for it. We were gearing up all season, and then the unthinkable just happens. And
crazy.
What are you going to do? I mean, but I really like our team construction thus far. I do want to get back to picking wide receivers.
Yeah.
Because these three are our starters. We still need a flex. I mean, I'm okay with filling out the rest of our team. Quarterback, we're done for a while. We might only take two and start taking more running backs, more wide receivers, use that spot as an extra, give some extra leeway. Now, I don't know when we pick 82.
Okay,
these two have been popping out at me at that range. Jacoby Myers and Jawan Jennings. I think Jacoby's going to get a new quarterback. I don't know if it's going to be Shador. I know Brady really likes Shador, so we'll see about that one. And Jawan Jennings with the Ayuk injury, maybe Debo's cut. The dude's metrics are awesome. So
I don't mind either of those. If you scroll up a little bit, though, there was a name up there.
That's it.
No, maybe it was drafted. Maybe it was drafted already, or maybe it was under all.
Was it McMillan?
Yeah, it was McMillan. Yeah, that was the name I was going to be considering here. We'll see. Mike Evans obviously still has a year. Chris Godwin, who knows what's going to happen? It's unlikely they sign him because of that injury.
He's got the double stack. He's got the Tampa Bay offense over there.
Yeah, that might be a Tampa Bay fan. But yeah, the McMillan pick there, I don't mind it at all. Jacoby, no, I don't mind him either. But looking here, like Mark Andrews, such a value right now. I know he had a weird first month of the season, but he absolutely went off. He was like a touchdown a game for almost 10 straight games to close out the season. Absolutely ridiculous. The volume wasn't there, but the efficiency was there. And that offense is still going to be
Tampa
great.
fan. There you go.
Yeah.
I see Baker Mayfield coming off the board. I won't fight you. I won't fight you on Mark Andrews, especially because Jawan Jennings just went off the board. So I won't. I'm not opposed to Mark Andrews.
I will say Egbuka is interesting. I think he needs to go early second round. I think he's got the opportunity to go super late first round. And if that's the case, he's going to be used. Ohio State pedigree. He's just so solid. He's not super high-end flashy, but I don't think he needs to be for his game to work in the NFL. There's not a lot to worry about with him. Really just landing spot for me.
Yeah. I mean, he's got all the tools. I hope to draft him in my late first of dynasty drafts. I don't know if I'm gonna, but not in our league because you own all the firsts. But
yeah, that's true.
There goes
Do
Jacoby
like him.
Myers. So like
All
we're
right.
coming down to Mark Andrews maybe on default.
Hawkinson's interesting with JJ McCarthy likely to be the starter there. A full off season of work and health helps for him. You could say the same about Mark Andrews. So it looks like we're probably leaning towards a tight end, unless you want to go someone like Rashid Shaheed or Darnell Mooney.
I'm cool.
But we already have some of their teammates.
I'm cool with Andrews.
Yeah, do it.
I think you're right. I think that the playoff game really did a number on his value.
Oh, yeah.
You know, fumbling, and you didn't even know he dropped a 2-point conversion. So I told you afterwards, like,
yeah,
it was even worse than what it turned out to be.
So I have to qualify that. I am in Amsterdam. I watch the games on the 40-minute quick version of the game, every single play, especially the late games for me that start at like 2 a.m. And that one, I got up early in the morning, watched the whole game. They didn't even show the 2-point conversion.
That's
and then
crazy.
you told me I had to go watch it afterwards. Yeah, pretty rough stuff for Mark Andrews. But hey, one of the greatest tight ends of all time is entitled to a bad game. I don't think we see much of a drop off, but I do not want to rely on him as our only guy. We should probably take a shot a little bit earlier than we normally would, just to kind of lock down maybe one of these rookie tight ends.
So are we feeling Rashid Shaheed here? We need another wide receiver.
Shaheed. I love Shaheed in best ball. This has me thinking we have to take Derek Carr a little bit later, which is like the worst possible setup.
I mean, he's all the way down here. He's quarterback 30, ADP of 202. I don't really hate that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gives you 2 weeks of production at, a 200 ADP, cool. That's great. but I'm kind of liking the build of our team. I don't typically build like this. I usually build at this point. I'll probably have 3 running backs. And what round are we in? We're in 8. So I probably have 3 running backs or 2 running backs and 5 or 6 wide receivers. Because I'm just sitting there. I'll admit early on, Tyreek Hill was going way too late. He was going in like the 4th. I'm like auto draft,
Yeah, of course.
So you got to take advantage of some of these ADPs. And I mentioned that because I'm going to go look at Travis Hunter's right now.
Yeah, do it.
Travis Hunter's at 120. I was picking him in the 160s for the last week. His ADP shot up 40 spots because obviously they add him to the pool and everyone's like, it's Travis Hunter. And you look at the names around him.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone more appealing than Travis Hunter at this spot on the board. Like if you just look, I mean, Cooper Kupp, maybe. Michael Pittman, I'd argue too, but
yeah.
And you could argue you could place for Keenan Allen, but
question a little further down the board on wide receivers. If you scroll down, right there, question on Coker. What are we thinking about Jalen Coker? Do you think he's a later round value and someone you're trying to pick up, or you just think it was more flash in the pan and Leggett comes on, they bring in somebody else, etc.?
I'm worried about them bringing in someone else because T. Higgins looks like he's good as gone now. So the fan base for Jalen Coker, they have a questionable name. I'm one of them, but like not in that sense of the word. the Coke heads are going crazy. That's what they call themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked him up in every dynasty league. I was hard pressed to trade him away. I mean, I think he's excellent. So I'm a fan. I'm just worried they add someone else. But we're up in 3 picks here, and we're looking at Ricky Pearsall, Tyler Warren, David Njoku. I don't really like that. Brian Robinson. I think they bring someone in. DeAndre Swift. They're definitely bringing someone in. Travis Etienne, Najee Harris. This is usually the range I like to pick from, though, and usually it was later than 9, but.
Scroll down a little bit. Just a couple of names. So Tucker. I was like, Justin Tucker.
We're not gonna.
Let's see. Interesting.
So I'm completely out. I'm out on Keon Coleman.
Yeah, I'm out too. I was gonna say I don't mind Brian Robinson. Doesn't matter. He is off the board. Pearsall's interesting, but I don't know if he's interesting enough. He's a great player. I just want to see that playing time come up. But I think he's proven it. I don't mind Tyler Warren there, who you're hovering over. these names interesting. What do you think about Mims? You think Mims can have an explosion year and be like super best ball
I think they
freakazoid over
bring
here?
someone. I think they bring someone else in.
Yeah.
These are the names I'm looking at right now. So I don't know what do you think about this? You think we go running back? Hope one of these guys can bounce back, or you think we go? Do you want to go Mims? We got 10 seconds.
I would go Mims. I would go Mims because I just think that the ascension is there. Sean Payton offense. Bo Nix proves that he's the guy. And then they have to add to that protection. They don't necessarily need to bring in a massive weapon, but the weapon I think they need to bring in, who they're going to bring in is a tight end. So we'll see what happens there. Does that take away from Mims? Yes. At the same time, he's proven he doesn't need volume, and they're using him in specialty situations, and he can pop. So I don't mind him at this stage.
Yeah, I don't mind him either. I mean, he was incredible at the end of the season, so hopefully he can carry that into this season. But we're up in 2 picks here. I mean, I'm tempted.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Well,
I'm tempted.
With Hunter?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care. Do it. I mean,
Or
he's
you want to go running back? Do you like either of these running backs?
No.
No, that's fair.
Hunter is either a total zero, or
I don't think he's a total zero. Or you like Cooper Kupp playing somewhere else more, or Michael Pittman with Anthony Richardson more?
Pittman looked good.
He did have a back injury all year.
Yeah, he bounced back. I would go Pittman or Hunter, but look, if you want to go Hunter, you're not going to get him on the turn, so I get him now.
He's been such a. I think if he goes 101 and he plays wide receiver, I mean, I'm still shaky on if he does. I don't think he's going to be a complete dud. I still think he's going to get reps on offense no matter what. Mm-hmm. If Michael Pittman had a better quarterback situation, if he had say Joe Flacco, that's an insta pick. Like we don't even think twice about it. But I really think one of these teams could go Travis Hunter and say, you're playing wide receiver for us. I mean, what if he falls to the Patriots at 4?
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys need a wide receiver.
He has to play wide receiver for the Patriots. Like there's no other option there. I think he's mostly wide receiver. They work him in slowly over the course of the year. And he's, cornerback 3, not necessarily meaning he's a slot guy, but just meaning that he's rotational. And they figure it out and they make it work. I mean, they have the coaches in place. Thank God. They just revamped that entire coaching staff. They have coaches in place to figure out how to use this guy. So, if he fell to us, to be honest, I think that would be a dream. I also think we're probably taking Carter at 4 if Carter's there, just because of the defensive guys in the building and variable.
Mm-hmm. Also, Michael Pittman just made it through the whole round, by the way. I mean, there he goes.
Ridiculous.
As I say that.
Ridiculous value.
So, I mean, I think, we're going running. We have to go running back here. I mean,
Taji.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
The board's not our favor in our favor. I mean, I think Cam Scatterbo goes late day 2. I like Devin Neal. This is where you talk me into Blake Corum. You talk me into Trey Benson. You could talk me into Rachaad White. It's a little shaky. Yep. Dylan Sampson, I like a lot. And that's probably the range we're sitting at right now.
I have a conspiracy theory about Rachaad White. That the Jags make a trade for him.
Okay.
And basically he just becomes the third down guy over in Jacksonville for Liam Cohen. Even though they have ETN and they can kind of just rotate those guys with Bigsby. They could, but I think, you could probably get Rachaad White for, a 6th round pick, like a 6-7 swap. If you really wanted to, he'd be cheap and he's playing for a coach who knows the system. If that doesn't happen, I get it. He has to be insanely efficient through the air to get there. But I kind of like all of the different Rachaad White outs at this point as a producer. But then you got Ollie Gordon staring you in the face, or the potential for a bunch of Ray Davis touchdowns. So it's really hard to justify Rachaad White when you got a bunch of other guys here.
All right, we're on the clock. I'll add Tajay Spears to the queue as well, because he had a pretty good decent season when you touch the ball. I mean, those last 2 games did a lot for his stock. So what are you
I
feeling?
will defer to you here. I would probably go Corum or Neal or one of those top 3 guys, or Taji.
We'll go Blake Corum. I think he has a
Yeah.
chance to make an opportunity. There's a lot of Kyron talk. There goes Michael Penix. We're not gonna stack him. I want to see how far he went over ADP. Oh, that's his ADP now. Okay, I'm still adjusting all this.
I get it,
Happened
man.
so quick. Don't worry, we'll be stacking Derek Carr anyway because I know Jared Goff's already gone,
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
or maybe Gino as well.
Yep,
Gino's down
that's true.
here. We're fine.
What about tight end? What's tight end looking like? I wonder if we can just.
I really like Evan Ingram.
Yeah, his value is ridiculous.
I like these running backs. We're gonna need another one. We're gonna need a couple more.
Okay. Yeah.
But man,
let's go with
Evan
a running back here, and then we'll talk tight ends after we pick.
I sure, because I'm okay with Evan Ingram here and just not worrying about tight end at all.
I don't care, except
It's
for the
gonna
fact
get ugly
that
at running back. But
Colston Loveland is a shoe-in for me to go to the Chargers. I think he makes it there because I think they're 21 or 22. I think they take him because of the Harbaugh connection and because of the need of tight end. And I think he's locked in to produce from day one. That said, yeah, I think Evan Ingram is incredibly undervalued. So either way.
You want to do that, or you want to go Rashad White?
Let's go Evan Ingram. I'm
all for it.
Cool. Always cool with punting running back as much as possible.
I mean, it's only 2 starters. If Kenneth Walker and Alvin Kamara play a whole year, which they've had their injury concerns in the past, if they play a whole year, we're fine.
Yeah.
We could also go Ben Sinnott later. I mean,
good.
Zach
Ertz coming. You can go Zach Ertz, baby. We should go Zach Ertz. He's already stated he wants to play. They're going to bring him back. He's been awesome for this team. I think Ertz is probably a better pick than Sinnott. Sinnott probably on the Trey McBride plan, but
Ertz is a free agent
year.
Though. Ertz.
Yeah, I mean, but he does want to play, so I think he will play. And I think Washington would be silly if it not to bring him back for what should be a relatively cheap contract.
Yeah. So looking at the board here, we're gonna have to go running back. We're in desperate need of running backs, but we like to punt running backs around here. And
oh yeah.
But you notice we're not taking any rookies. I stated that earlier. I think rookies are overvalued, except Travis Hunter, like I said. And then when you start to get to these guys like the Dylan Sampsons late, Ollie Gordon, I'm okay taking a punt on. Yep. At wide receiver, look, Amanere, I think I pronounced his name right.
Yep.
I don't quote me on that. I'm okay with him. I think he gets good draft capital. Jalen Royals, he's been a sleeper in the fantasy community recently. Jaden Higgins, like Tez Johnson, I'm okay in the 200s taking a chance on him. But anywhere before this, it's like, sure, you could look into a Marion Hampton or Caleb Johnson getting like a dream spot with the Bears or something like that. And their ADP goes up 2-3 rounds because I'm not going to get a starting gig. But
how about old heads like Kareem Hunt or Austin Eckler? Let's say the teams just do not address the position. They could be potential steals here, especially Kareem Hunt, because I just don't think Pacheco's healthy. Hunt has proven since the moment he stepped in the door that he's able to carry the load, and they're still giving it to him. 15.
I think I lost. Oh, he's right above Austin Eckler. Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs draft someone, and congratulations to whoever's now picked rookie 102. if they pick like an Ollie Gordon or a Dylan Sampson on day 2,
yeah,
congrats on 102, 103, man.
Like, agree.
So the running backs they're holding strong. I really like our how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah,
highlight that real quick.
Why not, man? Why not? We could stack them up.
I mean, I like Kyle Pitts as much as the next guy. Dang, JJ McCarthy's ADP is. I'm still looking at all these ADPs in amazement. I was picking JJ McCarthy in the 200s a week ago, and now he's going here at before 150.
Yeah,
like
pretty crazy.
The board's changing. That's why I like to get these drafts in early. There goes Rashad White. I'm bummed now. I thought we were gonna pull it off.
Insane value. Yeah, I don't mind Otten, to be honest. especially with Chris Godwin likely out of town.
Yeah.
I think,
I
but
I just have
Zach
tight ends
Ertz
up.
is
I
later.
want the high. I'm good. I think we're good on tight end.
Agree.
We got two top guys. You only have to start one, so
Yep.
we can still wait on
Unfortunately.
quarterback. It's not looking pretty, but or we could go Geno on the next pick on the turn.
I don't think we need to worry about Geno. People are going to go Darnold and Sanders before they go Geno, I would say. I don't know who has DK. That would be the only consideration for me. But we got the other two guys.
All right. So we're on the clock.
So I would go for Ray Davis or Ollie Gordon here. I don't know much about Samson yet. So I don't want to throw that name out there.
I think he's a day two guy.
Okay.
But we'll go Ray Davis
Well,
because I think Ray
5
Davis.
seconds.
I think Ray Davis is a great football player.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's going to steal some touchdowns. I'm okay with going Samson next and then filling out quarterback. I've been drafting a ton of Dylan Sampson. Maybe it's just because I like Tennessee running backs. I did it last year, Jalen Wright, and it didn't really pay off at all in these big boards. But I mean,
well, talk a little bit about Samson. Why do you like him so much?
I mean, I haven't gotten to the tape yet. I just see like he's highlighted as a top prospect on a couple boards, Mel Kiper, PFF, and like at this point, you just trust those guys in the 14th round, you know? So okay. I'm open to taking Samson here.
I'm going to say because you have so much Samson, let's diversify with fellow rookie Ollie Gordon.
That works for me.
Yeah, I think a team's going to give him a shot, to be honest.
I mean, man, he was so good in his freshman, sophomore years. So good in the early years, and just I don't know what happened. He'd probably be up there with Marion Hampton and Caleb Johnson right now if he came out 2 years ago, if I'm being honest. He was a top Devy pick for what feels like forever. And now the value's just gone down.
You know what's really interesting with that, though, is because you have the transfer portals, because you have these NIL deals, because all of this stuff exists in the college world, and because of COVID, we saw everything kind of pushed back until last season. And we're like, oh, the 2024 draft class is the greatest class of all time. And yeah, maybe, but there were a ton of factors that led to that happening. And it's also because those guys were so good, it's making us like a little bit reserved about this next class as well. I think we know running back is strong. We've known running back has been strong for a long time. Some of these running backs who were late, just like last year with wide receivers, some of these running backs who go later are really going to pop. I think Samson, Gordon, those are really interesting values right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I mean, there's a couple more that are sticking out later. RJ Harvey had a good Senior Bowl. I mean, in his drills, I don't want to tell you my exposure on him because
it's insane.
It's pushing 70%, which is not logical.
I see some other names down there that I like: Damian Martinez and Brashard Smith.
I was going to get there. They're both. Yeah. I love punting on running back late. I mean, Jordan James has been talked up. I'm going to mess up his name. Bashal Tootin. He's been talked up as well. He had a good Senior Bowl. Like, take your running back. I like doing this. You anchor the running back with two guys in Kenneth Walker and Kamara. You could do it with Gibbs up high, Bijan up high, Breece Hall, James Cook. Anchor them up here, and then start throwing darts late. Because I'm probably going to talk myself into RJ Harvey in this draft again. Because I think if there's an off chance he goes day 2, you pick him in the 200s. You don't care what happens. It's basically a free roll at that point.
Yep.
I mean, it is for any round 2019 pick. But if you're free rolling there, it feels a lot different because if he gets any opportunity, it's just a bonus for your team. And all these running backs are still on the board. I mean, Eckler and Hunt's ADP were lower than what we're picking next. I mean, I like both of them as well if you want to go running back, but I don't think we need more than 6. We could.
Okay.
I think we go Geno.
Yeah. Geno, I don't mind.
We're not going Geno. Okay. All right.
He's gone.
Well, let's talking.
No, it's fine. Let's get Carr then.
Yeah.
These are running backs going off the board. I think Shador is going to go.
He's going
If
to go
anyone goes,
on the
I'd be
turn.
surprised. Yeah.
You
So
want to go
just
Derek Carr?
get Derek Carr, lock him in. I think
It's
just
a little
with our
early, but
build, we don't want him, but just with our build, that's who we get. Shador, I understand that. Makes a ton of sense.
yeah, I like this pick way more now than I did 30 seconds ago because
Yeah.
Derek Carr would have went on the turn there. That person
Could've,
only
yeah.
has only one quarterback. I don't know who it is. Let me click on it and find out. Drake May. So it's interesting here. I mean, left on the board, you have Jackson Dart, who's getting a ton of hype. That's about it.
Maybe
Russell Wilson, of
Jameis.
course.
You just take a shot on Jameis, I guess, at this point.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with. Oh, we're back on the clock. Zach Ertz is top on the board if you want to finish off tight end.
I would take Zach Ertz. Who else is at tight end, real quick at tight end?
Fannin, Gray, Jatavian Sanders. Who
I love JT Sanders. Let's punt it. I don't think anyone's dying. Get a running back. Take who you want of those names.
We'll go Eckler. I think that ankle sprain really just.
He looked really good at the back end. Basically won that playoff game. Just with the way, I mean, JT has won every single game for them.
Yeah.
But if you want to give a co-MVP, Austin Eckler looked awesome. If they can figure out how to continually utilize him and he can figure out how to continually stay on the field, I think he can have another year, especially in best ball. He can give us, 3-4 games.
Mm-hmm. I'm just starring some people that I've been drafting a lot. I mean, Westbrook Keeney caught 9 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to do it again, but wow. On 60 targets, that's ridiculous.
He's a really good football player.
Gabe Davis, I think he gets traded somewhere. I mean, you could speculate that off the Liam Cohen video. I don't know if you saw that, where he just kind of ignores Gabe Davis, goes straight to Christian Kirk. So.
I missed that one. Jack Besh is down there. And then you got Deontay, of course. Deontay, who knows where he's going to end up, but if he plays at all,
I just traded him away for 2 fourths. Curtis Samuel had a nice playoff run. I'm just starring everybody at this point. It feels like.
I think Lockett is, but Noah Brown on the list for sure. He's just an absolute stud for fantasy.
Yeah, he did catch that Hail Mary, which is absolutely insane. I don't think I want to go down any further. I'm just scrolling down here. I mean, Zacchaeus looked good, but
yeah, I don't know if he gets the work.
I don't think he does, and I think I'm down way too far now.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Dimey Brown.
Yes, he's looked awesome. Washington is a very hot name for these later round picks, assuming that Tyreek may not be long for Miami. That's interesting. I don't know.
I wish AD Mitchell played somewhere else. I mean, he's gone anyways, but
AD Mitchell's problem isn't
yeah, I know
his quarterback. It's Alec Pierce.
Yeah, 2 of the same archetypes. That's just rough.
Yeah, I mean, Alec Pierce, is Alec Pierce available?
No,
or because of his season,
he's in the 150s.
He must be going.
He's 170s.
Yeah.
Looking at the board here, there goes JT Sanders. Oof. I'm okay with Elijah Arroyo. Had a good Senior Bowl. I mean, we could punt to round 20. We don't even need a third one, if I'm being honest, with who we drafted up top.
What do we think about Travis Kelce retires and Noah Gray just takes over the Travis Kelce role?
I mean, I'm okay with it. We could put him on there. I don't know if it's gonna happen. Mason Taylor's a decent rookie that's going a little too late. I know rookies don't usually produce a tight end, but we've been spoiled. So
Theo Johnson. I don't know if Greg Dulcich comes back from the dead, who is now in New York, but I think
we could punt another round. I like Chig a lot as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind Chig.
I like all these guys.
Let's look at running back. We're up here in 2 more picks.
I don't think we need to look at running back. Unless Monty goes Dimey Brown, I think we just insta-lock it, honestly.
Well, with Jade Daniels, I agree.
Yeah, get the stack, and I gotta stop talking. I gotta stop every time.
Damn, got us.
All right, we're up on the clock.
That sucks, actually.
It really sucks.
Oh, well.
I don't know if I want to go a 7th running back. I'm thinking
Get.
about
Oh, okay.
Jack Beck.
Go for it.
Excellent Senior
I mean,
Bowl, game-winning touchdown. I mean,
him or Westbrook Akine. I mean, you could probably go both. Is our boy Ertz still around?
no,
Is
he's
he
long
gone?
gone. He's long gone. So, are you feeling Noah Gray with this pick?
I don't mind Gray. I would prefer Theo Johnson. I think.
Well, we go Theo Johnson.
Yeah.
This is historical. You're not streaming this, sorry. They're watching the non-existent stream.
Yeah. There's not.
They're watching the non-existent stream. I'm cool with Theo Johnson 18. It's a little early, but you could pick and mix and match and pick and choose any of these guys down bottom that you want. It doesn't really.
They're saving us from ourselves with some of these picks. I think maybe it's just working out in our favor.
So I'm gonna take those guys off our board.
So looking at our board right now, we have 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 7 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. So obviously we're done at tight end.
We're done.
Are we done at quarterback, or do you like to get a 3rd quarterback?
I usually do, but looking at this board, I mean,
Cousins
is the one that sticks out. Rodgers, you gamble on if he plays or not.
Yeah.
Jameis is there. And that's it.
AOC, who I don't like him. I don't think he's going to put up anything.
I think they get Shador. I think they whatever it takes.
Yeah, they pretty much have to.
Or they go Jackson Dart late. Trade up. I don't think he goes round 1. He's probably going to be a round 3 guy for me.
Yeah. Milrow, too much of a project to be given a shot year 1.
Yeah, but at the same time, if he plays, he's going to be worth everything and more. Because if he gets on that field, he's going to do some things with his legs.
Yeah. I don't know how his game went, but I know that his practices were very up and down and more down than up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. So, I mean, Will Levis down here.
No,
I think they go quarterback. But
what do you think about Joe Milton getting traded and getting a chance?
You know, I don't hate it, but I feel like we should stick with 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, if that's what we're picking, I think I agree with you.
I'd rather just go. I'd rather take the chance on if Deontay plays or not.
Yeah.
Or Curtis Samuel, because I think
who else do we have at wide receiver? Who else do we have at wide receiver available?
We have
Booty. Booty's a great Vele, Demarcus Robinson. The chance that Tank plays. There's some interesting names here.
I don't think Tank plays.
I agree with you.
Watson either. So, I mean, Watson may be late. Maybe if he advanced the team so far, maybe he comes back at the very end. But
it's fair.
That's risky. I don't like taking a 0 for that long.
Scroll down a little bit further. Parker Washington's a good player. Mac Hollins had some big games in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Juju.
What are you feeling with this pick? Because I'm open to whatever.
No, we're down too far. Let's scroll up. I would say, we're on the clock here.
Yeah.
I like Booty. I would go with Booty. The chance that he kind of just continues to get on the field. I know it's a new regime in there, but Drake May showed a rapport with him, and he was actually showing out when given the chance. They cannot bring in so many weapons that they can't use anyone from last year. So some of these guys are going to survive in that room. And I like Booty's chances over Polk and Baker and, Demario Douglas, we know is just really a nothing for fantasy, unfortunately, even though he's a rock for reality. So it is what it is.
Yep. So we're on the clock with our last pick here. Do we want to go with 3rd quarterback? I usually build 3-6-8-3, but I don't know if there's any quarterbacks worth taking. If you want to take an extra wide receiver, running back, I'm all ears.
Looking at the names we have here, I'm not dying to take any of these guys. Maybe Jordan James, but I wouldn't mind taking Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins, I think, is going to get a shot. And depending where he gets a shot, maybe we get an accidental stack
An
on
accidental
this
stack.
team, and
New
can
Orleans
still throw 3
maybe. I mean, they
touchdowns.
can't get out of the Carr contract, so it'd
Yeah.
have to be where Hunter gets drafted.
Well, yeah, it would be Vegas, or it would be Cleveland. I don't think there's too many spots, but there's definitely a few.
So we're done. We've
Yeah.
drafted all 20 rounds, and I like our team. It's not my favorite team that I have, I'll be honest. Those early weeks of
That's
ADP
fair.
were so much fun to tee off on, where I have some teams that I might have to send you that you're not going to believe, like, how'd you do that? And hopefully they win, but they'll probably finish in last, knowing fantasy football. But the only thing I'd change is we pick a third running back a little sooner, but maybe I gotta look how to pull up the board. I kind of forget how to do that.
Maybe it takes a minute to adjust.
I'll be able to pull it up when the draft ends. So
Yeah.
we'll do that. I mean, we have the spike weeks from Mim, Shaheed, Hunter as well. Probably, I think even if he plays corner, he's gonna play some wide receiver. So I like it there. We got 3 solid starters. So I'm a fan. Tight ends will get production from every week probably, and then Jane Daniels is the rocket quarterback.
And Kellen Moore going to be the New Orleans Saints' new head coach as well.
Yeah.
So potential there for the Saints to have a bit of a resurgence and health. We have Kamara, Carr, and Shaheed at rock bottom basement prices. So I don't hate it.
That is true. I mean, speaking as an Eagles fan for 30 seconds here, I don't know why Kellen Moore would take that job.
I agree.
I mean, you got to get a 6-year guarantee. If the contract comes in and it's like 3 years, I'm not going to believe my eyes. I'm going to think it's a fake tweet, just like Sham's tweet last night with the Luka Doncic trade. Everyone thought that was fake.
That was crazy.
But if it's 5-6 years, okay, get the chance to turn around. They're committed to you. That's what they have to do. So that's just out there for a second. I mean, they could always bring Darren Rizzi back, try to fix it, punt 1 year, and then fire him, which is another logical opportunity. But
yeah,
I don't want that for our best ball team. For our best ball team, I'd want Kellen Moore there. But
yeah,
because even Mike McCarthy was withdrawing his name. That's tough when an established coach withdraws a name.
Well, you know what? There's a couple of things, but I think the biggest thing is really just the hole they put them in the Drew Brees era with all of their cap flexibility. They owe Taysom Hill some ridiculous amount of money coming up here in the next couple of years because they gave him a ridiculous contract and then just kept pushing it down the road. They're still paying out contracts from years ago, so they're effectively in cap hell. Whether they, and they can't really do anything to do that, and they just paid Derek Carr a crap ton of money. So they can't get rid of him. This is like the Russell Wilson situation, unless you can find some sort of trade partner, or you're just willing to just cut bait altogether, which they should do, if not this coming year, then the following year. But they're not competing. The problem was they were just competing for years and years and years. They didn't say, hey, we need a year or two to reset and then really go back after it. That's why I'm happy Bill Belichick left the Patriots. They were able to take a year, kind of reset. But now they have a trajectory. And now they have coaching staff in place. And all they need to do is start adding pieces and hope they hit on those. So the Saints are a long way away from that, but it's their own doing.
It really is. Is it possible you could pull down the draft board while I try to figure this out? While we go on here, because that user has been at 0 for the last 2 minutes now, and I think their time is up. So I'm gonna try to refresh
action. I mean, I'm not in love with it, but I feel like you always need to play the board, and that's kind of why Adjust the Ranks was born. The idea that you always need to see where the market is, where the market's going, and kind of be able to be reactive enough to find value. So do I want to have 3 New Orleans Saints on our best ball roster? No. Am I happy enough with the value of those guys and how I think they can produce? Yes. So there's all sorts of range of outcomes here. But really, you just need to, as best you can, play the board. You were talking about the fact that the values just in the last week or two have risen and fallen like crazy. Those will normalize as you get further and further through the season, but you got to stick with us all off season, because not only are we going to continue with the dynasty mocks, we'll do more of these underdog drafts with Ryan. We're going to get into redraft, of course. We have the rookie mocks coming up really starting next week. So there's just so much that we can talk about in terms of the different markets in fantasy and the fluctuations and how it all operates. So it's really important to try as best you can to understand how that's working and where you can find an advantage.
Yeah, 200%. I'm going to see if I can zoom in here a little more. That probably works.
Perfect. Yeah.
We could look at the first 5 rounds. We went wide receiver heavy. Surprisingly, no other team did that. I don't see any 3 wide receivers. I see a lot of people stacking late. But I like our start of Amon-Ra and Drake London. You have the consistency, and then you have the high upside of a guy who could finish in the top 5. I mean, with Drake London, and especially if he gets that target share from Michael Penix, and they don't add anyone, like you said. JSN, I was so wrong. I can't believe how wrong I was on JSN. I mean, the first year I drafted him a couple spots and I traded him away. I got lucky in most. I got lucky in most spots that I traded him for a pick or 2 and made the right pick. But wow, that second season breakout under Ryan Grubb, who's gone, which is a little bit of concern now. But
agree.
I'm okay with Kubiak running the offense. I think that's a slam dunk hire. And then Jane Daniels. What else is there to say? Nothing, right?
Yeah, he did it all. QB4 on the season. How many yards did he run for? Damn near 1,200 yards. Like he was up there, ridiculous, and just slinging the ball all over the yard, making guys like De'Ami Brown relevant. So absolute studly year. I don't think there's a CJ Stroud, lull coming for him in year 2. There's no sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels. The ascension is just here. It's going to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Then we followed that up with double running back Kenneth Walker and Alvin Kamara. Kenneth Walker's new OC is Alvin Kamara's old OC, as we were talking about. So what do you think of running back? Because like I said, I wish we picked a third one sooner. I don't know how you feel about these 2 guys, how confident you are in them.
No, I'm not confident, but Tyrone Tracy going, a pick later makes me feel a little bit more confident. I think Tyrone Tracy proved that he can carry the load. Should he be carrying the load on an NFL team is the question. There's a lot of question marks here. David Montgomery, a year older, health, always a concern with the workload that he's received in the league. At the same time, he's on the best team in the league. So I would have considered David Montgomery there, but Alvin Kamara is just an absolute stud. I think you have to take him earlier than Montgomery, and he's going too late. The assumption is injury and age is going to catch up with them. If not, he's a slam dunk.
We made that mistake last year. Yeah. with Derrick Henry and Saquon. A lot of people made that mistake. And then we followed that with Mark Andrews, who we talked about. It was a down year for Mark Andrews. I think that the car crash, the very start of the year, was more serious than they let on. And then, of course, the game against Buffalo just absolutely just ruined his stock, it feels like.
I have to give you real quick some Mark Andrews stats, because it's absolutely ridiculous after the month of the season, which is this, what we all have in our minds. And of course, like you mentioned, that Buffalo game where he was 5 of 7 for 61 yards, by the way, just the, drop 6 and 7 were absolutely horrific for him.
Fumbled 4 or 5.
He did. But since starting week 6 at Washington, Mark Andrews caught all of his touchdowns. He caught a touchdown in every single game but 2 games. That is the last 11 games of his season. Mark Andrews, not the volume that we expected that he'd receive, but the ridiculous high efficiency was there. Can you bank on that? No. Can you bank on the fact that Mark Andrews is a great NFL tight end? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Then we followed that up here with 3 wide receivers. A lot of best ball potential here.
It's the name of the game, man. That's the game we're playing is best ball. You got to do it. Marvin Mims, if he gets the opportunity, he went off Marvin Mims, 4 touchdowns in his last 2 games of the season. Ridiculous. 6 on the year. He was just used a lot more down the stretch. We've been begging him since his rookie year for Sean, but use this guy. Use him. If Sean Payton uses him for a full season, we're looking at Jameson Williams 2.0.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. It's just, will they give him the ball? He was a returner for a lot of the season there, and then the switch flips. I'm messing up my words today. And then, of course, we have Travis Hunter, who is the ultimate lottery selection.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to place him. If he plays solely wide receiver, where would you put him? I would probably put him right in here where we picked Kenneth Walker, around that Chris Olave range.
Yeah, I think Olave at the 5.12. So let's look at the names after him. Judy, I would probably prefer Judy, but his quarterback situation is a problem. Sutton is really, it's going to be hard. If he's solely wide receiver, no, I want Travis Hunter. But then Jalen Reed, Jalen Waddle, McMillan, all the Jalen's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with placing him there. I'm taking Chris Olave ahead of him, but yeah, give me Hunter.
Yeah, it's the ultimate, like I said, lottery pick. He could be everything, or like you said, he could be a 0 and play corner most of the time. Like I said, I still think he's going to play wide receiver. What really encouraged me was Daniel Jeremiah's big board, or it might have been the big board of the mock draft, where he said, I think Travis Hunter should play full-time wide receiver. And like that statement carries a little bit of weight with Daniel Jeremiah, because when it's draft season, you're going to hear a lot of things. Trust me, you're going to hear a ton. He's one of the mouths that I believe solely 100% of the time, because he's tapped in the league. He knows what he's talking about. And Travis Hunter plays wide receiver, like we said. We got 4 or 5 rounds of ADP value there. So really like that pick.
For the NFL, this is NFL.com. You can go to any particular website, but this is Chad Reuter, popular name in draft circles, one of the big names. And on his big board, he doesn't have the picks listed, at least in this article I'm looking at, but he lists the needs for all of the top draftees here. At 1, the Tennessee Titans. What do they need? Quarterback and wide receiver. At 2, the Cleveland Browns. What do they need? Edge, tackle, and wide receiver. The Giants. What do they need? A quarterback. Oh, and they probably need a wide receiver next to Malik Neighbors. The New England Patriots, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Las Vegas Raiders. What do these teams have in common, Ryan? They all need a wide receiver. We think Travis Hunter is going to go in the top 6. All of those teams could use a wide receiver. I don't see how they don't flirt with him at least being a starting wide receiver. Everybody needs cornerback help, but if you can play him both ways, he wants to play both ways. He's proven he can play both ways. Why not? Yeah,
that's going to be a fun topic when rookie drafts come up, especially if you do your rookie draft before the NFL draft, like I do in a couple of them. It's going to be trouble, but we followed that up with Blake Corum, Evan Ingram, Ray Davis, and Ollie Gordon. A lot of running back lottery picks there. I mean, what are you going to do when you're picking your RB3 in round 11?
Yeah. We talked a little bit about Corum, Ray Davis. We talked a little bit about him too. I just think James Cook was the epitome of health this season. We know he's a talent, but running backs get hurt. I think that's an interesting thing that we're going to all figure out once we look back on this season, probably in redraft season, and say, oh yeah, a lot of the running backs stayed healthy for a majority of the year. That doesn't usually happen. So it'll be interesting to see if the pendulum swings and we have a lot more running back injury. If that's the case, like you said, the lottery tickets of Blake Corum, who will see all the work. I think if Kyron goes down, Ray Davis, who will see a majority of the work because Ty Johnson's probably going to stick around. And then Ollie Gordon, depending where he goes. I like all of these options. And I do love Evan Ingram, who I think will come back and, he's going to supplant Strange, who looked a little bit, the part of an NFL tight end there. But Evan Ingram's a stud.
Yeah, he got, I believe it was 144 targets 2 years ago. I mean, he's not going to get that now because Brian Thomas is an absolute alpha. But he could still come in at 90 to 100 targets. And if he gets that, round 12 is just a pure value, especially if he gets the touchdown variance and Jacksonville's offense is what we think they could be with William Cohen at the helm.
Yep.
I love it in round 12. So
Duval.
Yeah, that's right.
Go.
That was an impression of, I think it's a rap song. So
Okay.
I think he did that on purpose and everyone just took it the wrong way.
Maybe.
But we followed that up with Derek Carr. A little bit early on Derek Carr, we said, but we had to.
We had to. We did have to.
The run right before that with 3 quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford, Geno Smith, and Sam Darnold, absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And then Shador going right after. Russ could have been a good pick, but I'm okay with Derek Carr and Austin Eckler, 2 vets who, for the most part, still have it.
Yeah. And don't forget Rashid Shaheed over there. Best ball maven himself. The guy's an absolute stud. I think they need to get his ass off of kick return, leave him on punt return if you really want to, but draft somebody, stick him in that slot, and just Shaheed full-time running your offense. Let's just make sure the guy's healthy in 2025, please.
Yep. And then we followed that up with Jack Beck. I love that pick. 17th round. I think he goes day 2.
Yep.
And obviously with the Senior Bowl.
Other than De'Ami Brown, who we were really shooting for with the Jaden Daniels stack, because he was stolen from us, I don't see anyone else in that range, right? Obviously, Yoshavas and Malik Washington would have been nice, but they already went. Tez is a nice value there. But with what we were staring at on the board, you can see after Beck, Naylor almost a round later, Calvin Austin, not a bad pick. Booty, who we picked, wide receiver had clearly dried up at that point.
Yeah. And like I said, with the Senior Bowl, he's had a great week at practices. He's shown he's going to stick at the next level for a long time. So, and we finished it off with Theo Johnson, Kayshon Boutte, and Kirk Cousins. Theo Johnson, man, Penn State just keeps producing those tight ends, man, every year. And there's another one this year with Tyler Warren. So
they got another one in the wings too.
They just keep them going. I don't think the Giants will draft a tight end. I think there's too many needs on this football team. Obviously, Joe Schoen's going to try to win now, and drafting a tight end doesn't really reflect that because he's got 1 year left to save his job.
Oh yeah.
If they don't do anything this year, he's out the door. I mean, you have Malik Neighbors. You're probably going to add a cross from him, but who else is there to take the targets? There's only so much you could do in one offseason. I don't think people realize that. I think people think you could transform your whole team, which you absolutely can. I'm a fan of the Eagles. Every award that they're up for was an offseason signing. So you absolutely could do that. Yep. But keep in mind, that's both sides of the ball. They didn't really transform the offense. So it's tough. I mean, like you said, Bootie's going to stick around. Where do you think Kirk Cousins goes, though?
I think he goes somewhere. He's a starter. I mean, that line he needs to go somewhere he needs to go to Cleveland. That's really best case scenario for him. Jameis Winston has proven he struggles to win. He's super fun for fantasy. He's super fun in reality. Like you want to root for this guy, but he cannot stop turning the ball over. And when he does, he's too timid and just doesn't get those big plays that the offense needs to move the ball down the field. So Jameis, unfortunately for us all, is just a liability as an NFL quarterback for that team in terms of long-term sustained wins. So yeah, Jameis is not a starter. We know Deshaun Watson with his re-aggravated Achilles tear. You saw the writing on the wall. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But Deshaun Watson will not play in the NFL again. So, who is it going to be? It's going to be a vet. They already kicked Joe Flacco out the door. I doubt Joe Flacco agrees to go back. I think Kirk Cousins is Joe Flacco-esque. And, another year of health for him. He's not Aaron Rodgers. His body takes a little longer to recover. He didn't have the quick recovery surgery like Aaron Rodgers did. I think next year we see a slightly better Kirk Cousins who still has enough for a year or two of production left in the league.
Yeah, he has a connection with Stefanski, who's obviously still around.
Yep.
If Arizona, if Atlanta lets him go, Cleveland can sign him for the min, which is something they desperately need to do with Deshaun Watson's whole contract situation, how that plays out. So I think it's a logical landing spot there, and we'll see what happens because Stefanski's coaching for his job too. There's been some talk that he's been around there a little too long, but I really like the end of our draft. Booty's the only one that makes me question a little bit, but like you said, I'll trust your judgment when it comes to the Patriots.
Well, we should have got Damian Martinez, honestly, if I'm looking at the board here instead of Booty. But I think it's fine. Booty's really interesting. And like you said, there's only so much you can do in one off season. And the only thing the Patriots need to do is draft everybody around Drake May on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is fine with Vrabel coming in. You probably expect a few defensive players in free agency in the draft, but we need offensive players. I couldn't name off the top of my head any of the Patriots starting offensive linemen at the end of the year. There were a few injuries, and then it just became this mishmash of nothing. So those guys, and Wanwu, I forget his name, but yeah. There's one guy. But the rest of them are just like, they're not NFL caliber starting players. We need an entire new offensive line. We need a back because Ramondre and Gibson ain't it. We need all the wide receiver help we can get. So we'll see. I think Booty has carved out a role. He needs to continue to be a part of this offense.
If they go BPA in the first round, I think there's a strong chance that Booty sticks around and has a prominent role. Because if you go Abdul Carter and then say you add a running back in the second or offensive line, because they're going to draft at least 3 offensive linemen. So,
yeah, but you also need running backs, and there's so many, right?
Exactly.
Why not draft 2 running backs as the Patriots lean into it? Because you have capable wide receivers, right? Kendrick Bourne is really nice because he can block. He's a great blocker at the wide receiver position, right? It's a major reason why kind of Booty was on the field over some of these other guys as well. So do I love it? No. Do I like any of the rookie wide receivers that we picked up in this last draft? No. So it is what it is.
It is what it is, but we'll see about that. I mean, like you said, he'll probably go around 15 if they pick Abdul Carter, which wouldn't be a bad pick. Yeah. So, I mean, that does it for the draft. I mean, we're going to do a couple more of these throughout the offseason, right?
Yeah, we should. And I think we should make this maybe a monthly occurrence at least, and just make sure that we get in, check in on the underdog ranks, and then talk about how that market has changed, because it's going to change. It's going to continue to change all offseason. We have free agency coming up. Of course, we have the combine. Then we have, the draft itself. All of these things are going to shuffle the rankings, but right now is where you get that extreme value. And even though, Ryan, the value is not what it was a couple of weeks ago, we're still getting guys like Alvin Kamara far later than that man should go, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just, you got to play it by ear. I mean, there's going to be new contests all summer, so we're going to be drafting here. I mean, there's a $3. We don't have to be high rollers. We could draft however many we want. So we'll see how the offseason goes. I'm totally excited. It's never the offseason. My team plays in a week, and I'm sitting here drafting teams for 2025. They're not even done their 2024 season yet. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's extra fun when I'm not just sitting there alone, just sitting on my phone drafting by myself. It's more fun talking it out, and hopefully this one's a winner. Our one last year was this close.
Oh, so close.
And Mark Andrews was a big part of what did that team in, the slow start and everything.
Christian McCaffrey.
McCaffrey, yeah.
But there was no right answer at the 101. You were taking McCaffrey, you were taking Tyreek. And the answer was Jamar Chase.
Yeah, the answer was Saquon Barkley 1 round later.
Agree. All right. Let's wrap this up, Ryan. Thanks for joining us. I am Jeremy at Adjust the Ranks. This is Ryan Prosick at RyanPros_FF. We are on the Twitter machine. We are Adjust the Ranks is on TikTok. We are on YouTube, especially, where you can watch this. Hopefully you're watching this. So like and subscribe if you enjoy it, and we will see you next time.
Adjust the Ranks is most obliged to your patronage. Should you wish to imbibe future content via your auditory and/or ocular cavities, do offer your clicks of approval and subscription.